Alright, YouTubers, I'm back with the update on Junkyard Dog here. On my last, where I left off was I actually had the motor sent out, you know, and well, I got it back all in. It's all hooked up. And just ran in a few, break it in a little bit, like they told me to do. But I have it all hooked up here, except for some of the air I don't have hooked up, the air lines or whatever. It's a decent thing. But the other thing was the transmission. Yeah, start it up here. Let's see. These are running. Alright, that actually takes care of that part. But now, what I had was the transmission, which I changed the transmission out, and there's a flywheel that I resurfaced, which you can't tell that it was resurfaced now that it's been sitting out here. And but I got to put a transmission in it, and the transmission that came out of this was a 5005 Eaton, and what I picked up was okay, it was a it's a 5005. I picked up a 6105 6-speed. Here's what came out of it. 5005, and the reason why I took it out was because the drive shaft was loose. You know, oil was coming out the output shaft, and then so I figured I'll just change the bearing, change the seal, and then as I tore into it, I'll show you what the problems that I found with it. Do this real quick here. Here's the bell housing, which now I need to make an adapter. This only has 35,000 miles on it, and but anyway, I got all my hoses here. What I did when I tore into this motor here, all this stuff is good except for the slide clutch here, which is just rounded off a little bit right in here, you know, on both sides. That's because they grind it. They grind the gear because they're not synchronized. First and reverse is not synchroed in these transmissions. You need to put it into you know, a third or a fourth or fifth gear first to stop the transmission from idling, rolling. You know, the idle, I guess the counter shaft. All the transmission parts just idling inside there, and then you go to put it in first gear, even though the clutch is in, all the mass is just rotating in there, and it grinds as this slides into first or reverse, and then it grinds in. So that's a little tip that I learned from the transmission company. But besides that, this one and reverse gear. I thought I had the gears here. Reverse and first was going to be changed, which I think is this one right here. But anyway, it's first and reverse gear. I was going to change out, but really they weren't all that bad. It's the slide clutch here that's more rounded off. So if I got a new one of these here, you know, they would have you know, a little bit more meat on the ends of the teeth here, and it worked. The transmission worked, but then as I tore into it, you see that the shaft here is you know, it's kind of messed up. All this here is messed up. So all the bearing surfaces on this shaft, this had to be replaced first and reverse, and this here needed to be replaced. But then the more I looked into it, got prices of everything, I picked up this here transmission for way less, and but it's bigger. It's you know, since it's a 6-speed, it's 2 inches longer, and then on top of that, my my bell housing is 1 inch shallower. So I actually needed a deeper one, and it's hard to locate those. So what I'm doing is I'm making an adapter to go on here, a 1 inch adapter plate that will fit this here surface there, and then my bell housing will adapt right to that. So, and I'll show you where I'm at with that. All right, where are we at here? What I'm at here now is I have this here set up on my rotary table, and what I did, I don't know if this camera's going to pick it up, you might be able to see it, but I scribed the lines of the contour of the bell housing. And I mean, this doesn't have to be precision, but I'm going to make it. It's going to look good when I get done with it. And here's the center hole. I got to cut this out. This is for my main, the input shaft of my original cover was this diameter. But on that other transmission, it's actually 7.5 inches. This is 5.5. So I got to actually cut this out, you know, bigger. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this out, the original size of my bell housing, and then I'm going to counterbore on the other side of it, because obviously these holes, I didn't think it would, but think they would do that, but they're not symmetrical. So when you flip this plate around, I mean, it bolts right up to my plate, but they made it to where they're not perfectly symmetrical. So so I'm gonna have to flip this around, re-indicate it in, and then counterbore this here bigger, about a 1/2 inch down, to go over the bolts that actually hold this in. You can see this, how small this one was on this transmission. It's a smaller transmission, so the other one's a lot bigger. It's a taller transmission, and the bolts are a lot spaced out bigger. So and I want the plate to fit flat on here. Most people would, I mean, I've seen some hack jobs, and most people just make a spacer here, and here, and here, and bolt the transmission up to the bell housing. But you know, you want all the surface area. You want it to mate up nice. So that's how I do my stuff anyway. I don't hack crap. So, but that's where I'm at. And I'll make a video on doing the machine work on this here and getting that all done. And then, but I just wanted to give an update on the motor. And the motor is in and running and all hooked up. So that's good. All right. Until next video. See ya.